Okay, this is a video of some updates and a couple scores that I just picked up today. First thing I'm going to show is I've begun working on the Silvertone accessory speaker amp. This is going to be used with my Silvertone 7045 phonograph to make it stereo. It seemed to work pretty decent, but I got humming issues. So of course, this guy needs to be replaced. Now there's 4 capacitors in this single can. A 40 MFD at 350, a 30 at 300, a 20 at 250, and a 20 at 25. I think, just trying to rattle them off the top of my head. The inside's pristine and there's no other paper caps in here. Just a lot of disc caps. So I'm not going to worry about them at this point. The wiring is beautiful. It's interesting they got resistors in parallel with the capacitors here as well. So to make this a little easier, I'm thinking about removing this one, which is the yellow and white, relocating this resistor over here on the yellow and white, and that particular capacitor. Actually, the yellow and white are here. And then that one's out of the way. Then the yellow and red are the second capacitor and resistor, which I'm thinking of swinging it from this point to this point and going from here to here. The yellow must be the ground by the looks of it. I have to trace this out to double check. And then we have this orange guy, and there's one other one. There's a total of 4 of them there. The brown. The brown comes over, and that one goes into the power supply. And I think it also goes into the power cord there. Since there's only 4 capacitors and this has plenty of room, I'm not going to restuff it. I'm not going to fight with it. I'm just going to put them inside and disconnect the old one. Now this time I've purchased these from a place called the Tube Depot. And they were very quick about it. Came to about 30 some odd bucks time I got done. It's very well packed. And I went with the top of the line caps for this. These were like $12 a piece, and as you can see, they're quite large. This is a 20 at 25. This largest one is probably the 40 at 350. As you can see, they're pretty darn beefy. They should last forever in this thing, which is one of the reasons why I want to locate them out of the way. I got a lot of empty space up in this area where I can put the capacitors and have plenty of room. But Tube Depot is a great outfit. They're primarily geared more towards vintage guitar amps, and can get all the tubes for your Fender or your Marshall guitar amps, PV, etc. by model number. They even have I-tubes, and they're only like 20-25 bucks for a 5Y or a 6U5 I-tube for an antique radio. So there's the Silvertone amp. Move that out of the way. This is going to be this weekend's project. It's going to be a fairly easy one. The speaker's in good shape. It's got a couple small cracks that I'm going to glue. I'll set this over here. As for the cabinet, I got two options going. I'm trying to find veneer. Unfortunately, this one's masonite. And I really wanted to put a nice lacquer looking finish on this like the other console. Up to this line it's wood, but then this is photographed on the masonite. I'm thinking about trying to steel wool it down and see if finish will stick to it. But it's also got a little bit of damage. It's got a puncture, it's got a little bit of like a mildewy looking damage, and this is actually the bottom. It's gotten wet. So what I was hoping to do is get some veneer and actually stop the veneer at this line, and from here back put an 1/8 inch thick layer of either mahogany, preferably mahogany veneer on top of this. Sand it so I get good adhesion. You put it on using an iron. I've used it many times. It's quite good. Now that'll make this have a little bit of a lip here, which is okay. The main unit has a lip here, where this surface is about an 1/8 inch above this. So it'll match the main unit to stop the veneer at this line. Very carefully refinish this. I don't want to lose this where it says these, or I'll have to order, you know, new decals. You can order these and redo them, but this looks decent enough. I think I can just sand it enough to put a new coat over it, the internal part of the frame. What I want to do is put a half-inch piece of finished grade plywood on the bottom before I veneer it. Bring my veneer onto it, and I'll keep it back here, and then I'll put little legs on this also to match the phonograph. They'll be a little thinner, but it would give it the matching style, 50s style. So that's the Silvertone accessory speaker. The grill cloth's fine. The back's mint. Well, here's what I picked up. Believe it or not, these items were thrown out. The first one I have, the story behind this was, I was driving to work and there was two big, like, suitcasey looking things on the curb. It turned out they were vintage movie projectors, 16mm movie projectors. And I don't know if they're any good or if they're worth anything, but I picked up this Philco radio. I happened to flip the lid of the trash can, and lo and behold, this was in the trash can. Unbelievable. I almost would like to go back and give the guy a piece of my mind. You should never see something like this in this day and age thrown out. It's in very nice condition, too. It has a very poorly, like a teenager threw a coat of varnish on it. You know, it's glossy and brush marks and a little scratching and a little piece of wood missing there. But other than that, one of the knobs doesn't match. But I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? And then this is an FM tuner. And I thought it was an FM converter, but it's an FM tuner. It plugs into a phono input. It does not work on an AM radio. I'm going to be doing part 2 of this video because I am at the 10 minutes and it takes too long to upload a single video. So I'm going to break off and do a part 2 about these two units.